Welcome to Lawyers Who Care, the video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And on each episode, we will meet a new lawyer and they will share stories of when they went beyond legal counsel for the benefit of their client. My name is Andrew Samalin. I'm the principal of Samalin Wealth, a nationally recognized wealth management firm for lawyers, their firms, and their clients. And let's applaud Lawyers Who Care and learn from them. Today, my guest is Trish Yeatts Butcher, an attorney and owner of Arch Legacy Firm in Watkinsville, Georgia. And Trish formed Arch Legacy Firm specifically to focus on the needs of young families, special need trust, and professionals and their families. Welcome, Trish.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Trish, tell us what brought you to the law.
So, out of law school, I was originally working for doctors. I represented about 8,000. And in 2016, when my step-grandfather passed away, we had a big family crisis, and my family ended up in probate court for 4 years, and my dad spent over $200,000 in probate attorney's fees and probably lost out on a little bit more than $1 million of the estate. And as a lawyer, I knew my grandmother had an estate plan. It just epically failed. And I was very curious as to how that happened and how I could help other families and avoid that happening for them and their families and having to experience that amount of stress. And I mean, it's been 9 years, and honestly, there's still things that are ongoing and popping up. So it's just really crazy. So my sister and I actually decided to open this firm together back in 2020, right before COVID. So I don't know if that's either really good timing or really bad timing, depending on how you look at it. But dying was definitely on a lot of people's minds at that time. So, but yeah, that was kind of the impetus for us starting the firm.
And so can you share about your personal experience on that? Are there any details you want to share, or some pitfalls that folks need to look out for, or some risks that aren't being contemplated by either the client or counsel? What do you think?
Sure. So my dad was an only child. My grandmother came from absolutely nothing, put herself through school. She became a professor at the University of Georgia, go Dogs. And I'm wearing red, which is the color of UGA. And she started investing in real estate and was very successful, made a lot of really good investment decisions. And my dad was an only child. And so a lot of people were like, well, how does this go wrong? Well, my grandmother remarried, so it is a blended family situation, but unfortunately, I even hear this all the time about non-blended families, but blended families are particularly tricky. Basically, my grandmother passed away right as I was graduating from the University of Georgia for undergrad, right before I went to Emory Law School. And her will had actually been changed post-mental capacity, meaning that technically it was a fraudulent. It could not have been changed. It was fraudulent, but it's very hard to prove that. And so the will stood, and instead of my law school being paid for, which is what the original will was basically, I was supposed to inherit about $250,000. I had to take out student loans, which is fine, but definitely was not originally anticipated. And then after my step-grandfather passed away in 2016, we really realized how much the estate had been tampered with. My dad ended up in probate, battling it out with his step siblings for 4 years. And I think that what was really the most eye-opening part is that they went to attorneys down in Florida that specialized in estate planning, but the attorneys knew that they'd make more money on the back end in probate than they'd make doing a living trust to avoid probate, because my grandparents told them there would be conflict. And instead of trying to avoid that, they literally just sent my family right into it. And that's crazy to me. I mean, frankly, it's malpractice for sure. But again, very hard to prove or to do anything about that. So it was just very eye-opening for me to realize that attorneys, we're not all created equally. And when people talk about sleazy attorneys, they do exist. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that I think a lot of people think that when they talk to an attorney, they've talked to an attorney, they've done the right thing. They've talked to an expert, but a lot of attorneys don't specialize in estate planning, or a lot of attorneys only do it on the side, or,
right,
or more worried about the back end and their retirement plan. And so I think that's what I run into a lot, is that kind of old school behavior with attorneys and people thinking that they're protected when in fact they're really not at all.
So the concept, though, and I see this a lot, the concept of a standalone estate planning attorney. Are you finding that counsel will, or those that don't have a specialty in that area, are they not qualified to do that work? Is it talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so they're really not, in all honesty. I mean, if you think of it like this, if you go to an internist and the internist tells you that you need heart surgery, you're not going to let the internist do that heart surgery. You're then going to go to a cardiologist who specializes in heart surgery. And that's after you do a ton of research and make sure that it is the best cardiologist you can find, because you're not going to let someone chop open your chest without making sure that it's the right person first. The same thing really does go for law, although, of course, a little less, dangerous to your health. But the attorneys that accept everything that walks in the door, I call them a door attorney. They do everything, but they specialize in nothing. So therefore, in all honesty, the wills that they do are really not any better than the wills that you can do online. They're just fill in the blank wills. They're not going to get to know you. They're not going to get to know your family or your circumstances or your goals. And they're just literally going to copy paste your name into all of the Word documents that they just mass produce and then sell to you for $100. So it's super cheap. But then at the end of the day, your family's still going to be paying thousands of dollars in attorney's fees in probate and being stuck in the probate court system. So it's just that attorneys that don't specialize in it, they don't know what they don't know. In fact, I have an attorney that now refers to me. He's a tax attorney. He's brilliant. He does know. He does get it. But he never had the energy on the back end to focus on helping clients actually make sure that their estate plan was going to work or that their living trust was going to work. And he knew it and he hated it because he was like, I just felt so bad selling a living trust when I knew that they weren't going to ever fund it because I didn't have the time or energy to, actually work with them to get that done. So that's what my firm does, is that we do living trust, we avoid probate, we work with our clients, we make sure it's personalized for them. And then we work with them on the back end to make sure that it's really actually put in place correctly. And then we're there to support the family on the back end. So our clients can always call us and email us. There's no hourly billing. So I think you just have to find someone that actually specializes in what they do. When I say that you don't want me to be your personal injury attorney, you really don't want me to be your personal injury attorney. Just because I'm an attorney doesn't mean that I can go run for DA and be successful at it. So It's the same thing, in my opinion, with estate planning. It's just that I don't think a lot of people have really realized the consequences of what your family can go through if not done properly. Because probate, it's a court process and it can be hellacious, especially if there's going to be conflict in the family.
So before we wrap up, if you could leave our listeners with one takeaway, what would it be?
Find someone that actually specializes in estate planning and actually gives a about your family. Because if they don't care about you and they don't get to know you, your estate plan is not going to work the way you want it to work. You don't know what you don't know. We're meant to be the people that can guide you. I mean, technically we're counselors of law. If you ever hear an attorney going around calling themselves that, they're very stuck up. But that being said, we are counselors of law, and our goal is to counsel you through the process and ask you questions that you wouldn't think of yourself. And so if the attorney's not asking you those types of questions, it's not the right attorney. So it is important to find someone that specializes in that area, whatever area of law you're looking for, someone that specializes in it and it asks the questions that you're like, oh, wow, I wouldn't have thought to ask that question. Because that's what we're here for, is to really make you think through the process and make sure that the plan that you're paying us for is the best plan that we could possibly create for you and your family.
Well, thanks to my guest, Trish Yeatts Butcher of Arch Legacy Firm. Trish, can you provide our audience with your contact information?
Yeah, absolutely. So like Andy mentioned, we're located in Watkinsville, Georgia. It's right outside of Athens. So we really work with any clients throughout Northeast Georgia. And so you can contact us by calling our office at 706-352-9060. But really, you can just find us online at www.archlegacyfirm.com. If you're a UGA fan, you know the Arch is named after UGA Arch. So archlegacyfirm.com, and just reach out to us, and we're happy to help any way we can.
That's perfect. Everyone, this has been the Lawyers Who Care video show podcast that highlights attorneys that go above and beyond for their clients. Trish is a perfect example of that. And if you're an attorney or know one who does go above and beyond, feel free to reach out to us, 914-666-6600, 914-666-6600. Trish, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it.